I'm Jack Marschall, a former broadcaster in Cleveland, but over the past several years I have written either short stories, poetry, a couple novellas, I guess you would say. I've done actually in all 7 books. The last one that I'm going to be here at the library talking about is From the Heart, Words to Inspire a Weary World.
From the Heart talks a lot about connection. How much of that was inspired by COVID-forced isolation?
To be honest, a lot of From the Heart followed COVID because of the isolation that we did have, because of the separation, because things were definitely abnormal. That separation really, I think, drove me to writing a lot what I wrote about and the feelings that I had at the time, because I spent, many days like everybody, worrying and hoping that everything would turn out okay, not knowing how things would turn out, going for walks in the park, going for walks in the neighborhood, and kind of praying and meditating and thinking things are definitely going to get better, but we don't know when. So things have gotten better. That's the good part, but we're still not, we're not like we were before. But in writing about that and in thinking about that, I don't dwell on it, but I try and offer maybe an alternative to some of that sadness, an alternative to, yeah, we do cry and we do miss our families and we do wish that they were here, and not only in a dream but in reality every day.
Now, there's a forlornness in some of your poetry.
Right.
Does writing help you work through that feeling?
I think writing helps me express my feelings, express my innermost thoughts, really. The feelings I've had with going through depression, anxiety, and those things that people don't like to talk about. And when I share that with the public and I post something on Facebook about that, I think people, rather than run from me or maybe think that that's something that we shouldn't talk about, they're drawn to me because of that. Because we're all the same in many ways. We want the same things. We want the good things to happen to us, to our families. We want to love people. We hope that that love is returned. And so sometimes people might get the impression that, well, Happy Jack, as a lot of people, sometimes called me, that there's nothing wrong with me, and hopefully there isn't anything wrong with me, but I feel just like everybody else does. I have the same kind of feelings that everybody else does when it comes to anxiety and depression, sadness and things like that maybe go on in your life that aren't quite as perfect as people would think. So, I'm here to say I'm as imperfect as they come, but that makes me identify with other people, because no one obviously is perfect in this life.
Is writing therapeutic for you?
It is. Writing has always been therapeutic, and I always feel it's really my reverie, my silent reverie when I write. It gives me a lot of peace of mind and a lot of I don't know, it's just like meditation when I write. It's almost a holy kind of process that I go through. It's sitting down and expressing thoughts that are in your mind and in your heart, and expressing things that you might not tell people all the time. I mean, it's so hard for us to say, I love you, but so easy to say, I don't like you. And I think more than anything at this point in our existence, in our society, in our lives, we really need to try, if we can, to reach out to people if we are able. But if not being able to physically or financially or vocally doing something for them, I think it's just a matter, I think we're being kind, just empathizing with them and understanding the plight that they're going through and the suffering that they have. And you don't have to, necessarily do anything. We don't have to do anything to try and make sure that they're going to be okay. But I think just caring for them and empathizing again with them, I think that carries a lot of weight, and it makes the world a better place to live.
Now, when did you start writing poetry, and why did you start sharing it?
I started writing poetry probably, I'm trying to think, I will be 70 years old in January. Don't tell anybody. I'm only kidding. I think 70, it's like, oh my God, how did that happen? But probably when I look at my age and I backtrack to writing, it was probably, you know, even in my teen years, maybe my high school years, I wrote for the high school newspaper at Benedictine High School where I went. And I always had an interest in communications. I always had an interest in writing.
So where can people find your books?
The best place actually to find Jack Marschall's famous, infamous books would be on my website, which is www.happyjackpubs, P-U-B-S, happyjackpubs.info.